This is my real recording and real voice with full AI editing by GPT 5.6. I never opened the video editor, not for a single second. But getting AI to edit the video turned out not to be the hardest part. By the end, you'll see what GPT 5.6 actually edited, where the process broke, what I still had to do, and what this experiment proved and did not prove about replacing a video workflow. This did not begin with one perfect prompt that produced a finished video. I started by asking GPT 5.6 to help me make a timely video about its own release. The deeper problem was already in front of me. My last agent-assisted YouTube workflow worked, but getting a video to the quality I wanted still demanded too many iterations and too much production time. I would keep the point of view, content judgment, real recording, important taste decisions, and final decision about what I share. GPT 5.6 would take on as much of the surrounding planning, screen capture, graphics, assembly, review, and repair as it could, and turn useful corrections into a process that a new session could reuse. An agent can also build a video around an avatar and cloned voice. For this experiment, I choose authentic human presence because it is an important part of the experience I wanted to create. My last agent-assisted video already used Claude and a designed scene. It proved that this approach could work, and I published it. It also made video production possible without requiring me to become a professional video editor. But the process still took too long to repeat at the pace I wanted, and the visuals still had room to become more dynamic. This time, GPT 5.6 helped rebuild the story, prepared clean screenshots and screen recordings, created motion graphics in hyperframe, designed how I would appear beside the source material, and assembled a 3.5-minute visual rough cut before my final recording. The graphics were starting to carry the argument, not merely decorate it. Then the workflow started creating a different kind of work. The virtual studio work stretched across roughly 17 hours of elapsed time, including overnight agent work. That is not 17 hours of my time, but it shows how long the direction remained unresolved. 3 of those hours went into a combined cycle of light and dark versions, motion, small screen text, review, and repair. The files passed those narrow checks, and I still rejected the direction. The agent kept producing complete rooms, desks, whiteboards, and blank wall designs. I decided that I did not need an elaborate studio. I needed a simple, believable background with the right light and enough depth that I did not look pasted onto the wall. The agent rebuilt the design around that simpler goal. The correction also became a reusable rule. Begin with how the scene will actually be used, and get the visual direction reviewed before generating a large set of assets. The layout showing me beside the source material exposed a more important problem. One version cut an explanation box into my shoulder. Another let part of my body escape the frame. Before recording, almost all of this build ran at extra high reasoning, except for one 4.5-hour window on high. The shoulder mistake appeared during that window, and I switched back during the reset. But the section-by-section recovery after recording also ran on high. So this project does not prove that high or extra high reasoning either caused or prevented the mistakes. It shows something more useful. More reasoning could not replace a clear job, a representative proof, or a timely human judgment. Find out why the review missed it, add a reusable rule or test, and verify the repaired result again. GPT 5.6 traced the shoulder problem through the source image, the crop, the motion build, and the review that had missed it. It repaired the composition and added a boundary check for future presenter layouts. The same approach later caught and repaired a duplicate version of me at the beginning of the rough cut. This is how the process learns. GPT 5.6 is not retraining itself, but the lesson is written into reusable instructions, checks, and tests that a new session loads the next time. A project record also tells the new session exactly where the current work stopped. The recording setup followed the same loop. In the first test, I filmed myself in front of green fabric so the agent could remove the room and place me over the virtual background. In the combined image, the agent sported a gray chair back touching my shoulder and recommended that I switch chairs. I moved to one without a visible back, recorded a second test, and that version passed. The camera, lighting, framing, sound, wardrobe, and background were ready. But the script had not passed the same human review. I found the script focused solely on the production framework without talking about the real experiment and barely showed how GPT 5.6 was making the video at all. So I stopped before recording. Before the first full recording, GPT 5.6 and I were doing more than producing one video. We were testing what it could handle and building the workflow as we went. It took 69 hours and 41 minutes of elapsed calendar time to reach that recording. I was multitasking and orchestrating many other agents along the way, but this experiment alone involved 51 agent sessions and 7 major resets. The logs showed 29.1 billion reported tokens. About 97% was cached input, the same context being reused. So this was not 29.1 billion new tokens. This experiment ran through ChatGPT Pro subscription. At OpenAI's standard API rates, that usage would have cost roughly $25,000. Then I made the first full recording and handed it over. 5 hours later, the first 12-second picture proof was unusable. My face shifted from overexposed to underexposed. Several internal reviews had cleared that proof. I rejected it within minutes. That triggered a separate post-recording reset. The problem was not that we needed more reviews. The reviews were proving that the process had run, not that the result was good enough for a viewer. So I changed the way we worked. I set a roughly 10-minute cadence. GPT 5.6 would show me one meaningful section. I would give the taste correction. It would revise that section, and only then would we move to the next one. When the process drifted, I brought it back to that cadence. This was a recovery method for this build, not a permanent workflow I want. The lessons from this build now form a reusable workflow. Whether it can deliver the same quality with less of my attention still has to be proven in another video. So, can GPT 5.6 replace my video workflow? In one important sense, it already has. This entire video was edited by GPT 5.6. I never opened a video editor, not for a single second. And this is the second video I have made that way. The previous one was edited by Claude using Fable and Opus. But eliminating the video editor is not the same as eliminating my involvement. I deliberately kept the point of view, my authentic presence, the taste decisions, and the final quality judgment in human hands. If I had accepted the first watchable result, this would have been much easier. But that was not the standard I was testing. The real question was whether AI could meet the standard I care about, turn my corrections into a reusable system, and eventually require much less of my attention. This build has not proven that yet. But it has proved that AI can execute the production while I stay out of the editing software entirely. Could this replace enough of your video workflow to make it sustainable? What would you still keep human? Let me know in the comments. Thank you.